Mike Mashiro as he comes up.
Thank you. That's hilarious because it's true. I've been thinking about that like the last few weeks. I'm like, do I talk too much? Do I say things in way too many ways people don't need to hear? And then he's up here explaining that I in fact do that. It's great. Someone's phone is here. I'm gonna step on this. Does someone want this phone? They're recording? All right, everything's fine. I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay, yep, it's recording. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Mike, Bethel Man, Mustache Fire Guy. Great. Those of you who don't know what Bethel Man means, I was doing the video announcements for Bethel Church in Redding, California on Bethel TV, and we did this parody of like the old 1960s Batman, only we made him Bethel Man in Redding, and they went and solved crime at Bethel Church, and it was, oh, that's, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a relationship. All right. First of all, I want to say thank you to Ben and Tisha for having me. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. I always love coming to Bethesda. It feels like home away from home for sure. And I'm from Hillsboro, Oregon, so, yeah, just right over there. But I've spent the last 11 years in Redding, so that's all right. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys just a couple of announcements from my world, because I know, we've got some time together, and some of you are going to be like, what the heck, who is this person? What else does he have to say? So I just want to point to some things so you guys can have that, so you don't have to come and ask me for everything afterward. You can just know this stuff. So first of all, I have a podcast. I started it a few months ago. It's called Confessions of a Reformer. Basically, it's me sharing my thoughts on, I travel and speak and teach on the gospel, relationships, communication, and specifically the gift of discernment and spiritual intelligence, like those kinds of things, right? So my podcast is basically going over what has it been like for the last several years working with people I'm mentoring, and also when I travel and teach and train, what is the church like picking up, and how are we engaging with this stuff, and what does it look like to participate in those things? Anyway, so this podcast I'm a big fan of. If you guys are anybody in here listen to podcasts? Okay, well you might enjoy this if you come to Bethesda. I think that there's probably enough overlap there. Okay, let's see what the next slide is. These are my social media handles. So if anybody watch YouTube videos? Obsessed with YouTube? Okay, so my team and I have a YouTube channel. It's called Mike Mashiro. Putting out content there. Instagram, I want to take a moment and just highlight that one. This feels like a piece of art to me. My team and I put a lot of work and effort into putting out regular quality, I would say, content on my Instagram account. But one thing I want to highlight is I have this affinity for scaring people on my team. So I'll like take my camera and like creep up and the phone's gone. Oh yeah. Creeping up on people and then just like scaring them, and they flip out and I catch it on camera, and I've gotten pretty good at it. And so my Instagram story is full of videos of me scaring my team on a regular basis. So if you appreciate that, you're gonna care about my Instagram. And then obviously on Facebook. And also, Danielle and Brett, can you guys stand up? You guys, my team is here with me. This is Danielle and Brett. They are representing our whole team from back in Redding. There are 36 of us. Super excited that they're here with me. And then I think there's one more slide. Yeah, my website is mikemashiro.com. So we have tools and resources and things like that we put out as well. So you can check that out. So you've been informed, all right? So you don't need to come and get everything you need from me afterward. It's those. You just, my name in all those platforms, you'll find it. It's great. All right. What's the next slide? I don't actually know. Oh, good. So I entitled my message today, Behold the New. I have way too many slides for us to get through today, so we're going to skip some of them. So I want you guys to just kind of embrace that up front, all right? Those of you who are really detail-oriented and need to check off every box, I'm not your guy, I'm sorry. We're not going to get through all of it today. But I did want to have some scripture for us to look at, and then I'm going to try and explain something that I have never heard explained before, and I've not done it on a stage like this before, so we're going to experiment together. You guys okay with that? I think that's a demonstration of trust on my part. So let's see how we do. Okay. Anybody in this room have never heard me preach before? Oh, wow. All right. Well, then I guess I should introduce myself. I am Mike Mashiro. I come from Hillsboro, Oregon. I've been in Redding for the last 11 years. I trained in the ministry school there, and then I worked in the events department, taught discerning spirits, leading traination, and we have a whole book, and we've got a Holy Spirit in us. I'm like, how do we not know better than this by now? I get that maybe earlier on we're like, what? What's going on? But it's been, because we've been around for a while, we should be advancing our ability to participate in what the Lord's doing in the world. And so I kind of come with a bit of a bite to me. I don't want to like scare anybody. I'm not mad. I will confess that I am a little frustrated though. I do want to see the church fill out. I want her to be mature and, you know? I don't think that God has left anything undone. I think when he said it's finished, that was true. And so what's the discrepancy here? What are we missing? Yeah. Right? Like, why is it that if everything is accomplished, why does the world look the way that it does? How influential are we actually in this story, right? I happen to think that we have all the answers. I think when we have the mind of Christ, that's supposed to look like something. And it's supposed to look better than what the world can come up with, right? So I think we've got some ground to cover. So I'm hoping today maybe we can kind of poke at that conversation a little bit. I want you guys to bear with me as we go through these slides. Again, I said we don't have enough time to go through all of them, so I'm just going to skip ones that we don't need to look at. But I want to just get some scripture on the table and then let's get into the drama. Good? Can you guys just symbolically put your seatbelt on with me? Click. Put that on. We're going to go for a ride, all right? All right, what's the first slide? Let's see it. 2 Corinthians 5, 16 to 17. From now on, therefore, we regard no one according to the flesh. Even though we once regarded Christ according to the flesh, we regard him thus no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. Okay? Let's see the next slide. Oh, the two trees. All right, I just wanted to take a moment to just set the stage for this, okay? I want you guys, I'm going to be very visual today, I think. So imagine this is the tree of life. The tree of life. Which whatever that tree does. And then here's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? In the garden there were two trees. Life, knowledge of good and evil. Adam and Eve were commanded not to eat from one of these trees. Which one were they supposed to not eat from? This one. Yeah. Okay, so the size of this room and the amount of response I'm getting, not the same. I don't understand. You guys, it's Sunday morning. Attitude, young lady. It's Sunday morning, y'all. We're hanging out. Shouldn't we have some fun while we're together? Okay, so I just want you guys to know, those of you who think you're so far away that I can't see you, when I'm like asking you a question, when I ask you a question and you're like this, I can see you. I'm not like pretending like you're not here and just hoping to, I'm actually like engaging, right? So when I'm like, hey, which tree were they not supposed to eat from? I'm expecting something different than, you don't have to, but just understand that this goes both ways, okay? So let's try this again, and listen, it's for your benefit that I give you an opportunity to participate, because you'll get more out of today if you participate. Yeah. Don't you want to get stuff out of today instead of just checking off Sunday morning? Let's make this count, okay? So participate. Tree of life, tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Which one were they not supposed to eat from? Thank you. Well done. That was great. Okay, thank you guys. Let's stay there for the next little bit. It's just a little bit, all right? They weren't supposed to eat from this tree. Why? Has anybody ever wondered, like, shouldn't we know that? Don't we want to know the difference? Don't we? So why would God tell us not to eat from it? I heard ticks for your innocence. Yeah, it's a doozy. Like, hey, this is knowledge. Isn't knowledge good? Don't we want to know everything we can? Do you guys realize that there's a spirit in the world? And his agenda is to try to get you to value things God doesn't value. To go after things God doesn't go after. To obsess over things God is not touching. And I'm not saying that God doesn't have a value for knowledge. I'm saying God doesn't want you to know the difference between good or evil. Which is offensive, I know, I'm sorry. And that's probably not the last time that's going to happen. I'm not trying to be that guy. We just have to face this because it's in the book. Okay, so please, as far as I know, I am not trying to impose my agenda here. I'm trying to help us understand that book. Okay? God is interested in us not knowing the difference because we're not supposed to be judging this. And if that's true, if Christians actually understood that God is not interested in you judging or measuring or analyzing or assessing your performance, we would do church very differently, don't you think? And so I understand that I'm saying this in a church service, which is awkward. But here's the deal. You guys, if we want to do the real thing, if we actually believe what's in that book and we believe that God's going to make everything here like everything there, that the kingdoms of this world are going to become the kingdoms of our God, that the knowledge of the glory of the Lord is going to cover this place, if we actually believe that's going to happen, we have to say yes to what He is saying yes to. And we have to say no to what He says no to. And He says no to you judging yourself.
That's good.
And there's so much going on in the church. The Spirit has come in to say you need to measure yourself. You need to figure out what's wrong. What's wrong with you, what's missing, so you can earn your acceptance, your approval, your whatever, right? This is kind of an old narrative. We all get that. However, we still do it. We all understand this is not appropriate, yet we're still walking like that, you know? So I want to just put these guys here. Tree of life, tree of knowledge of good and evil. We're not supposed to eat from that. We got ruined. Mom and dad screwed it up for everybody. So Jesus came, walked around, did the deal, perfect, innocent, didn't judge himself, died, right? Didn't deserve to die. He took our death, took on our punishment. He paid the price for our crimes. The things we did became His fault. That one gets a little awkward too, doesn't it? When you're born again, it means the things you've done wrong are now His fault. And some of us like, oh, I thought I was saved until you said that. No, I'm like, I don't know if I can accept those terms. Like, yeah, it's that awkward. This is not about you. Okay? So as we understand the radicality of the gospel, what Jesus actually did to your person, it changes the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive yourself. And we have to leave acknowledging the evil that's going on in the hands of somebody else. It's not ours. We don't touch it. We don't think about it. Okay, let's look at some scripture. Next, please. All right. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Understand that there's a distinction here. The law came through Moses. Notice that truth is on the side of grace. A lot of us like to think that truth is in the law. Oh, as long as I understand the rules and I can perform accordingly, then at least I'm walking in the truth. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not biblical.
Wow.
Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. The law is opposed. Ooh. Next verse, or next slide, whatever it is, let's see it. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. Now if the ministry that brought death, the law, which was engraved in letters on stone, came with glory, and then I cut some stuff out because we want to get to the point, will not the ministry of the Spirit be even more glorious? So Moses brought the law, and guess what? That thing that he brought killed all of us, ruined our lives, made everything awful. And it's called the ministry of death. How strange, because the law is perfect. It's really weird. Our relationship with the law is not good. So Jesus died to set us free from this whole business. Next. Yeah, super exciting, for sure. Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in God's sight by the works of the law. I'm going to put law over here with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, okay? They're both on this side of the magic carpet. No one will be declared righteous in God's sight by the works of the law. Rather, through the law, we become conscious of our sin. But now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been made known, to which the law and the prophets testify. Do you guys realize that when you pay attention to right and wrong, when you pay attention to you trying to do what you're supposed to, it only makes you aware of everything that you suck at?
Yeah.
This is really weird dynamic. You think that if you get good at learning this and pay attention, that you get better at following it. It actually makes your ability worse. The more you look at this, the worse you become. Which is so awkward for an intellectual culture. It's super awkward for Greek-based thought. When we have such a value for logic and reason, of course it makes sense that we would learn and study this stuff so we'd get better at it. Actually, your relationship with this content makes you a terrible person. It makes the sin even more of a thing. So the way to actually recover from the sin experience is to stop thinking about it entirely.
Wow. Come on.
We're going to get into that, and we're going to get a little worse into that, okay? But just know that's where we're going. Okay, let's see the next one. So the law was our guardian until Christ came, that we might be justified by faith. Now that this faith has come, we are no longer under a guardian. Some translations call this a tutor, some a babysitter. Which I actually like that one. It feels appropriate. The law functioned as a babysitter while we didn't know what was up until Jesus came and set things right. And then when he came and he broke the power of sin and death and evil and all the things, we didn't need this to keep track of us or to make us not burn ourselves or light the world on fire. We didn't need it anymore because something happened, right? We no longer need our babysitter. And some of us aren't comfortable with that. Some of us want the right and wrong thing because at least we know what to expect. Without the babysitter and we're left with the house, guess what? We get to do whatever we want. And that's uncomfortable for some of us, even right now. You're just like, what the? Do you feel it in the... Do you feel it in the air? I'm like, you can do whatever you want. You're like, I'm like, understand again, it's in the book. If you remain in me, my word remains in you. Ask whatever you wish, and it'll be done for you. I mean, there's so many passages where God's like, hey, I want what you want. And we're like, no, God, what you want. Next slide. We gotta move on. Okay, dead to sin. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's go to the next slide. For you have died and your life is hidden with Christ in God. I mean, God, the language in the pre-prayer, and then Tisha just up here, I love it, you guys. You're just being bathed in this. You died. I'm speaking to those of you who have met Christ and been reborn. You died. The old, boring, scared, religious, sinful version of you is no longer in existence. They don't exist. Not here. So exciting. That is good news, right? The person's gone. Next slide. Please. How shall we who died to sin still live in it? Next slide. Even so, consider yourselves to be dead to sin but alive to God in Christ Jesus. Next. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life with which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. It is no longer I who live. Oh, you went ahead without me. I like it. Do it, do it. Now those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Okay, you guys, I'm just setting the table, right? I'm just kind of putting out some things we're going to eat, but we're going to get messy before anybody puts anything in their mouth, all right? Next slide. I call this the reality ladder. We're just going to punch it right in the mouth and move on with our lives. Flesh, spirit. The Bible opposes these two things, right? Things of the flesh, things of the spirit. We're constantly being told to deny this, subdue this, overcome this, be led by this, give into this, be full of this, right? Spirit good, flesh bad. In some context, I'm not saying your body is evil or whatever. I'm saying your body comes with carnal desires and things that are not appropriate for you to indulge in. It's not because your body's evil, it's because it's wild, right? And your spirit is supposed to come and subdue this thing. Govern it, right? Now, we've got this pesky little soul thing going on between there that we have to talk about. I mean, we're going to spend I'm not ready yet. Listen, I'm going to let the DTR with you right now. I'm just kidding. We've got this pesky soul thing going on in the middle. And the Bible sometimes refers to this thing, and sometimes it doesn't. The Greek word is psyche. We got to talk about it. Because in the soul, and I spend a lot of time teaching on this because most people I meet, especially maybe in the church, live according to the soul. Yeah. Not because they're bad or evil, I don't think they know any better. I think they misinterpret that as spirit, just because they don't know any better. So I want to talk about that today. The soul, Watchman Nee has said that the soul is a combination, something that's born of the flesh and spirit met. I don't know that I agree with that necessarily, but it's an interesting idea. What I want to talk about is, in your soul, where you have your mind and your will and your emotions, right? You feel things, you think things, you want things there. You have spiritual desires, spiritual feelings, spiritual thoughts. You also have fleshly desires, fleshly feelings, fleshly thoughts. And they both exist in the soul. So your soul can have either, which is a confusing piece of the puzzle. We just need to understand that, all right? So I want to take a moment and let's talk about that middle green section, the soul. because a lot of us tend to operate primarily from that place. So I'm going to try and appeal to you from that place to see if we can get somewhere better. All right? All right, now let's see that next slide. I call this the soul cabinet, and I'm not trying to be confusing. It's a memory jogger for me, but I need to explain to you what that means so you can get on board with where we're going. You know how like the president has his cabinet? Like staff members, advisors, whatever? That's what I mean when I say cabinet in this. So your soul has cabinet members, okay? Servants who are there to help serve your spirit.
Right.
I'm going to get very physical here. This thing looks intense. It's not that bad, all right? I want you to look at this carpet that can you guys in the back see this carpet? Okay, I want you to imagine a carpet on this stage, because there is one. By faith, trust me, it's here. There's a giant red rug. I'm gonna call this rug the court. Okay, everyone put on your imagination hats. We're gonna be children today right now, okay? This stage is inside of you. Anybody see Inside Out? Yeah, this is that, but different. We're gonna be inside of your being today, okay? So I'm gonna explore inside. I'm gonna just kind of put some things in place to give you some structure and context for the inside of you. Okay, so this space is the court. This barrel I'm gonna call your emotions. Okay, these are your feelings. This is where you experience pain, where happiness happens, that kind of thing, right? Listen, I'm gonna take, can I use some of these? Okay, this is the throne of your life. I'm not necessarily doing this in a particular order. I am gonna use this stand. This is gonna be your thoughts, your mind, if you will, okay? Logic, reason, intellect, they're housed in this character. And then this tissue box, this is your will, your desires, your ability to drive and like, go after it. And I know that you guys in the back maybe won't be able to see this, but I'm gonna set it right here in the front. Can you still see it or no? Okay. It's here. So, emotions, thoughts, desires. These are 3 distinguished cabinet members. Every single one of these members are awesome. They're helpful. They're servants. And on the throne of your life am I centered? This is where your spirit is supposed to sit. Okay? This is the right order of things. And any circumstance or event or relationship or whatever that takes place, I'm gonna use my water bottle as an example. Let's say I go to work and my boss tells me that he's disappointed in a report I did last week and he'd like to see me up my game at work. That's an event, okay? We don't have any judgment on that yet, it just happened. So this water bottle represents my boss telling me that I'm not great at my job. Bam. It's in the middle of the court. Within my person, that event, that conversation, whatever, happened. And now I get to assess, what does this mean? What do I do with this? Some of us are so biased to one of these characters in our soul that we don't even consider this thing, we just go along with that character's response, right? So let's pretend like we're a highly emotional person. I know no one in this room is emotional, but there are people in the world who live their life based on emotion. So pretend like we take this barrel. I'm not gonna do this because this thing's like bigger than I am. But let's say the barrel is sitting on the throne. Because I've just learned how to live this way. I'm an emotional person, I'm very sensitive, that's how I live. So my emotions are sitting on this throne. Anthony, do you see me explaining every little thing about, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. You've ruined my life. All right. Your emotions are sitting on the throne. Your boss says the thing, all you can do is be angry and scared. Immediately. That's all you can do. Immediately. You're upset because your emotions are running your life. Right? Because you're a slave to your emotional cabinet member. And that person is calling the shots in your life. The problem with that is your emotions don't have the authority to run your life. They don't have the capacity. They're not equipped to do that well. They don't have what it takes to reign. Your emotions don't belong on this chair. right? So if that's how we live, then we're gonna just be spun out for the rest of the day, and then our spouse is gonna have to hear about it at work, and it's gonna come out in other things that we do, right? From the emotion. Let's put the emotions back. Let's say we're super heady and analytical and like logical about how we approach life. So this music stand instead is sitting on the throne, and my boss tells me the thing, and now I'm immediately trying to go to town, strategically trying to figure out, okay, is he right? What does that look like? How does it work? Can I disprove that, or is he actually correct? Do I need to fix this? And we're analyzing all the facts and figures, right? Immediately just trying to make sense of it, right? I know nobody in this room operates that way, but there are people in the world who live the way, they're a walking brain, right? And they're just thinking their way through life. Again, thinking is awesome. Feeling is awesome. Thinking does not belong on this chair.
Yep. So good. So good.
And that is not popular, what I just said. Right? Predominantly because of how our culture got built and what we value as a society. But logic, reason, and thought should not lead your life. This is a great cabinet member. He's got great insight to provide. He doesn't have what it takes to rule the kingdom. Okay? And now let's take the third member. This one I actually can move. Your desires, your will. Okay, wow. Sits on the throne. And so your boss says, hey, that report wasn't great. I would like you to do better at your job, whatever. Your desire here, depending on whatever it's programmed by, right, is going to immediately try and figure out, okay, can I get him fired? Can I earn his graces back? Like, how? And you're going to follow these like longings, right, that you have, and you're going to find your aggression and your dominance in this cabinet member, and it's going to bring you power on some level. And some of us live with this character on the throne of our life. These people are super intense. These people like to bulldoze and run over other people typically, or get really strategic in the way they please other people. Either way, whatever it expresses itself as, it's coming from their desires and will running their life. They are not, your desire is not supposed to run your life. It doesn't have the power to rule the kingdom, right? Thank you. What's supposed to sit here is your spirit. And when you're a believer, when you're born again, guess who's sitting on this chair? Jesus. And if your boss tells you you suck at your job and Jesus is sitting here, he's going to respond differently than any of these members, right? Amazing. Here's the deal. There's another component, there are a few other elements to this. You're a container. Bear with me as I try to explain this. You're a container. You are a vessel. You are not designed to function complete unto yourself. You were supposed to be full of something else. Someone else, right? All the imagery we get in scripture is you're a temple, you're a lamp, you're a jar of clay, you're a house, all these things are supposed to be filled with something, right? They're supposed to house something, a deity, if you will. However, there are other spiritual influences that have also been able to come in and occupy this place. So if a spirit of rejection, for example, happens to be the dominating spiritual influence in your life, which I know no one in this room experiences that, but there are people in the world who are legitimately living their life under a spirit of rejection and interpret everything that happens to them, whatever the circumstance or event is, through that spirit's lens, which means their emotions are experiencing the pain of rejection based on the context of the event. Their thoughts are already analyzing the way rejection is starting to destroy their life and how they're going to try and mitigate it. Their desire and will is already trying to bolster their strength against what rejection is doing. Even though that's not real.
Wow. So good.
Even though it's not real. You guys, any spirit that's not of the Lord that influences any of your cabinet members, it has no power in your life. The only way a spirit that's not of God can influence your life is when you, from this seat, agree that that spirit is right. As soon as you accept the proposal, what that spirit says to you is real, and your members all agree, and you stamp it, and you're like, that's true, you release the spirit's nature that's running this place into your environment. And then other people get to experience that. Have you guys ever been around somebody who's walking around with a spirit of rejection? And you're like, oh my gosh, all I want to do is get away from this person? All I want to do is reject them. Why? Right? And we can go through every spirit and just map it out. It's not worth our time. But anyway, that being said, oh my gosh, my boss's comment. Can someone get Larissa out of here? Out of control. She said, don't get emotional. Okay. When Jesus sits on this seat, we rule and reign in this life. And that is how we are supposed to live. That's what's supposed to happen. The crazy thing is, and I'm going to say this, and it's awkward because, we're in church, but there is so much going on the prayer line because people don't understand this. Ministry is rife with people trying to help them convince that that thing doesn't belong here. We don't actually need the power of God to move that. Thank you.
Say it again. Woo! Come on.
Well, there's something else I want to say about this before I move on. That chair. Oh, okay. All three of these guys, super helpful. They're actually here to serve you, right? They're excellent servants. They are so profound. What this is supposed to look like is, let's say I'm here and my house is in right order. My boss says a thing, and then I'm going to assess the thing in the court, right? So I might take some time alone to do that or whatever, and the thing is, the more you do this, the better you get at it, the faster this process goes. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing every time. Eventually you get so used to it that you don't have to dwell on it anymore. You just know in the instant, and your spirit can rule. So the process at first, if those of you who are used to having one of your CAP members sitting here predominantly and you want to kind of adjust, you want to renew your mind and experience transformation, I'm going to walk you through a bit of a process that might be helpful in working that out. So my boss says the comment, I come over to my emotions CAP member and I'm like, okay, he just said that. Do you have any thoughts? And your emotions are like, yeah, I'm pissed. How dare you? Like, what? That hurts. Like, ouch. I mean, for real. I'm literally dying. You come over to your emotion or your desire, your will, and you're like, okay, sorry, my back's gonna be turned to you right now. Do you have any thoughts? What do you think about this? You're like, you know what? I think I want to rise above this. I think I want to prove that he's wrong. I want to do better at this. Let's take that. Let's figure out how we can make this work. How, depending on the spirit of the air, it will determine how my CAP member participates in this conversation, right? But I'm getting counsel and insight from this part of my being, this CAP member. Now I come over to my thoughts. Okay, what are your thoughts? Your thoughts are super logical and in order. I'm really looking forward to what you have to say. And thoughts are like, okay, here's the deal. He's actually right. You see this thing? You're supposed to do this. This is what you actually gave him. We can see how that didn't measure up. What we could do is, you start strategically starting to break it down and realizing what could change, right? All three of these members have great input.
Right.
And they're all seeing the same thing. They just happen to see different things because of the way they operate, and they're all here to serve this guy. And so they all contribute, and in your right order, they're all sitting like this, and an event or a circumstance or a relationship or whatever happens, and then they all just kind of have a dialogue. And when you have right order in your house, they all serve this person. They come in and offer what they're contributing. And then from that place, you get to make a decision, and you get to decide what this is about, what I'm going to do with it, and how I move forward. When you have the mind of Christ, when you have the peace of Christ, when you have the Spirit of the living God sitting on this room, when He's running the air, our ability to judge the situation, to decide how to move forward, lines up with heaven, with the truth. If you hold to my teachings, Jesus gives us a 4-step process. I don't like processing things, making them process, but I just want to conceptualize it for you guys. When Jesus says, if you hold to my teachings, He means in the court of your life, if you cause all of your members to submit to what I tell you is true, is real, and you live like that's true, then you're actually my disciple. When that's what's going on, then you're actually following me. He doesn't care what you're doing out there. Remember, this is inside of you. I guess that you guys are outside. He doesn't care what it looks like out here. If you hold to my teaching here, which will obviously translate to out there. I'm not saying that's irrelevant. I'm saying that's secondary. You hold to my teaching, then you're actually will know the truth. Meaning anything that gets brought to your court, you will see clearly. You won't be persuaded or like deluded by other people's opinions or offenses or the threat of other people's choices. That will not affect your ability to recognize what's actually going on. You'll know the truth. And when you know the truth, freedom is your experience. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. It's for freedom's sake that Christ has set us free. It is your portion to know what's happening in your life. And when you get good at this, you start getting good at doing this out there. And we're supposed to be doing that. But so many of us are so biased and so inappropriately intimate with one member of our cabinet, and they're sitting here, that we can't see this correctly, and so anything we try to judge out here is already messed up. It's already slanted and bizarre, and so you have to rely on other things to try and come to a logical or helpful conclusion out here when this is a mess, right? And some of us don't even realize that it's a mess because we think this thing should be there. It's who I am. We've defined ourselves. I'm a 4. I mean, there are all kinds of labels, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying there isn't some validity to those things, but that all has to be subject to this. I don't care how much research has been done. I don't care how much research has been done and how compelling it feels. That's mostly an indication of who's sitting on this chair, not truth about you.
Wow.
You are not a 4. You are a son or daughter of the King of the world. Like the Enneagram! I'm kidding, I think it's super helpful. I don't hate the Enneagram. I'm just saying, like, people are like pigeonholing themselves and justifying inappropriate behavior because it's who they are. Well, I'm a shy person. I disagree. There's nothing shy about love. He's not like that, so you don't get to be like that. I don't care what your upbringing was and how long you were like that. When he's sitting here, it changes you. It doesn't mean you act like anybody else. You act like him as you. You're his dream back from the dead. He died so you could express that aspect of him. He wanted you, not you, not him without you. He wanted you in it. He didn't want to get past you. He wants to go through you, with you. You know what I mean? Like Jesus died so you could be part of this. He's not annoyed and trying to clean up our mess. Okay, so let's see what the next slide is. Remember, I have slides. Through Jesus. Okay, let's go. What do you got? Next, sorry. Next? Yeah. This righteousness is given through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. There is no difference between Jew and Gentile, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And all are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Jesus Christ. You guys, where do we access faith? Let's see the next slide. Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Next. And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. Next. Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. Next. Because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus... Next. Whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. Whoever does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God remains on him. Next. To him all the prophets bear witness that everyone who believes in him receives forgiveness of sins through his name. Next. Jesus answered, the work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent. Next. For with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Next. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he'll make you proud. Okay, let's stop. Oh my gosh. You guys, there's a way, this is not complicated. I know it maybe seems complicated, it's not. There's a way that we're meant to live. That we're meant to participate in this world, in this life. The way that we're supposed to govern what we've been entrusted with. This pearl of great price buried in a field. This talent that's been invested. It's us. When we understand that the Lord has laid it out for us already and we have eyes to see, it's not hard or confusing anymore. Here's the deal. The way you're meant to live your life is from this place. you believe. You don't believe there, or there, or there. They don't have what it takes. You believe here. This is where faith happens. It's with the heart that we believe. This is where faith comes from. Faith floods our being from here. We are seated with Christ in heavenly places, right? From here, into us, expressed into the world. It comes from here. So when you're a super intellectual, analytical, logical person, and you're trying to rationalize your faith, or you're trying to make your feelings are proof that you have faith, like, we've got a problem. I'm not saying these guys don't react. They are aware, and they definitely have a reaction to faith, but they do not supply it.
Yeah.
And some of us like try to rationalize, like, oh, I think I'm saved because all these bullet points. Like, oh, he doesn't have what it takes. Jesus saves you, not your logic. Which is offensive to this culture. Like, there's a wall here, and I'm like, oh, get it. Jesus saves you, not your emotional experiences. And again, I'm not trying to devalue this stuff. This is a symptom. It is not the source. It is not proof. Your desire, your agenda does not save you. It is Jesus. And so what happens is we live a life of dependence where we are led. And that is very uncomfortable for anybody that runs with any of these homies. When these guys have to check off for it to be approved of, faith is unaffordable. You can't handle it. Trust resides here, and these guys don't operate that way. They are very myopic in their perspective. They're biased, because that's how they're supposed to operate. They're all here to serve you. Oh my gosh. All right, so here's the deal. Jesus set you free by making this not your job.
Whoa. Wow.
Jesus set you free by making this not your job. And some of us actually, we might not say this out loud, but we define our Christianity and our spiritual maturity by how well developed our relationship is with this thing. And we impress people, and we're rewarded for it. And we get promoted, and we get attention and followers and whatever. Here's the deal. Who cares if you're lost? Who cares if you don't get it? If you're missing it? Who cares if you speak in the tongue of men and of angels, but you missed it? Who cares if you have the gift of prophecy, you can fathom all mysteries, know knowledge, and have a faith that can move mountains, but you missed it? You guys, love floods your life from here. Not there or there or there, it's from here. The fruit of the Spirit flows into your being from here. Are we getting this? Okay? Oh my gosh! I've never heard this explained before, but as I've just delved in this for the last like 8 years, I'm like, what are we missing? Why is this not working? Why am I praying the same thing over the same person again? I can't keep doing this. I can't be on the prayer line and have the same stuff every time. Like, this is insane. I can't read what's in the Bible and keep having this experience and act like this is okay. It's not. So I'm like, okay, can we explain this maybe? Can we understand? Like, you are not a soul. You're a spirit. Like, God is spirit. You are a new creation. You're like unlike anything you've ever seen before. You're supposed to bring something new to this place. And you will never if one of these guys is living your life. Only Jesus can show us what you actually can do. I hate the standard of doing your best. I think it's such a cop-out. You have no idea what your best is. When that's your standard, you have made yourself the God of your life. And I want better than that from anybody. Forget your best. That's such a weak attempt. I don't want your best. I want God. And that's not an inappropriate expectation. Okay. Wow. Wow. Oh my, yeah, I know. I know. So here's the deal. Do we have a ministry team? Do we do that? Can you guys come to the front, ministry team?